Hello, ladies and gentlemen. We're going to do another Cosmonarchy cast. We've got some Terran and some Protoss on the same map, so you know they're going to be fighting each other. Slav in the bottom right is our blue Protoss, looking very snazzy. Of course, blue is one of those player colors that we modified in Cosmonarchy, so it looks just a little bit more high def, it feels like. So very nice, very colorful. And then his opponent in the top left, bearing one of our ridiculous 100 plus custom player colors. It is Krankendau, under a very interesting username. And I believe he's Aquamarine. Yes, that is the Aquamarine color. I'm glad I remembered that one. I wasn't quite sure if I would. We have a TVP and Slav going for a gateway, while, of course, Krankendau is going to be opening with Fulcrum. I thought he was going to do it really close to his ramp. He kind of faked me out there with that Mesa movement, but he's just going to do it real close to his Ministry instead, which obviously doesn't make a huge difference, but, you know, he's not Protoss. He doesn't need to. That being said, you might be like, hey, where's the pylon? Well, this is Cosmonarchy. And in Cosmonarchy, the Nexus is a pylon. Well, I mean, it's a power field, but you know what I mean. There's also a unit that is a power field. It's the Autocort. We will probably not see it in this game because it's a very niche unit. It's an advanced constructor. Those are probably like AI gamers' best friends, like the Ogun, the Autocort, maybe to some degree the Gosvaleth, although I think the Agrolith is probably more useful for the average gamer. But interesting to see the advanced constructors be used by more of the casual guys than, you know, anybody who's a sweaty 1v1 dude. So just something to keep in mind, I guess. But this Mason is currently trying to disassemble the Nexus. It'll take a while. And then he's going to fall away, showing off our flashy shield recharge mechanic here. Flash shielding is a mechanic for Protoss, one of their cornerstones. All of their units have shields, and when you take damage, you initially start regenerating shields at a rate of 10 per second. But pretty soon after that, you will have the regeneration rate cool off over time. So definitely a nifty little thing. Drakenid now migrating around the map. It's actually going to miss the first Vulture, which could have some consequences. It looks like a second Drakenid will finish in time that the Vulture shouldn't get any worker kills. But this almost feels like a deliberate move to see if this Drakenid can get some early game pressure. That's interesting, but Slav is actually going to show himself as that second Vulture pops out, and then he's going to play Minesweeper. Meanwhile, his own Draken has already left the building, while the Vulture over here for Krankendau is starting to heckle. He's going to pull the workers, pull the boys, but that's going to be a third worker dead, surely, right? Or no, I guess only a second one. Where's this? He forgot about his Draken. He seems to be being slapped by the moment a little bit here. You know, when you're like, oh man. He sent a unit at my base, in my face, at the beginning of the game. That's what I was going to do to him, and then absolutely pranked. Now, I don't know if this Drakenid is going to make it home. Vultures are actually very adept at chasing down units like this. And then Drakenid does deal 15 damage, which is less than the Dragoon in Starcraft 1, but there's no, like, damage types, right? Which is actually part of the reason why Vultures were acceptable at attacking the Drakenid there. Let's see how much pressure Krankendau can exert here. He's got to go up against 3 Drakenids, which is obviously a lot more formidable. A 4th one arriving, yeah. Once you hit around 4, that's a good break point for taking fights against these sort of situations. But these mines are lobotomy mines. They zero in on your opponent and they stun them, which is obviously going to do things like stop them from moving and stop them from attacking and interrupt any spells that they might be casting or anything like that. So all kinds of stuff like that. Going for an expansion is Krankendau. He's doing his best to get that economy rolling. Already up by 3 workers, which coincidentally is the number he killed. So Slav hasn't missed the mark, at least any more than Krankendau has, on the macro side of things. We get to see the Hierophant for Cosmonarchy's Protoss. A very important unit in this early stages of the game. Slav is going to be using it to try to debuff units with their on-hit attack, which applies a slow. Not exactly like in Snare, because it doesn't reduce attack speed until you stack it up enough times. But once you stack it up to 5 times on the same unit, it transforms from a movement speed slow to a movement and attack speed slow, which is like in Snare. So that's why I draw the comparison there. Amaranth on the way, which is very good frontliner. Gonna have that shield sustain if you've seen that before in Cosmonarchy. If you're new here, then don't worry about all the new units. In fact, get excited about them. There's 50 of them for each race, so you definitely want to be considering the fact that this is not Kansas anymore. This is not Starcraft 1 anymore. This is Cosmonarchy. So Nexus is going to warp in. The Ministry's already done for base number 2, but honestly, Slav is not that far behind. And I'm almost using this as a way to, like, assess him. He's definitely, he feels like a class 3 player, you know what I mean? If you can macro up like this, you're more in class 3 than you are in anything else. That our ranking system uses those different classes. We go from 1 to 4, 1 being the best. So I don't think Slav is bottom of the barrel by any means. He's signed up for a couple of weekend wages. I can't remember if he's posted a win in the tournament context yet. He usually ends up. I mean, listen, he had to play against Hit 'em Up when Hit 'em Up returned for weekend wage. So yeah, let's just say let's just say he wasn't. That's a little bit of a lopsided affair, right? Extra fulcrums being added. We already have the scrapyard for those much-needed blackjacks, it looks like. This is kind of curious. It feels like Krankendau is, maybe because of the caliber of opponent he's facing, maybe because he just wants to try a couple of different things. He's trying to experiment here with it going Mass Vulture into Mass Blackjack now, which is sort of a scrap walker that actually gets worse as a unit the more damage it sustains. If it takes, once you pass over half HP, below half HP, you end up moving slower, shooting slower, that kind of thing. Usually it's easier to finish them off. But they have really, really good stats for their cost. They're only 50 minerals, and you can get an 85 HP unit with 2 armor penetration, fast fire rate when not damaged, fairly nimble. So a lot of value there, but it's just that they fall off in the middle of fights, particularly against crowd control. And there it is. I was wondering where we would get the progression, right? Palladium, so you can get your phalanx or siege tanks up and running. Starpad coming online, so pretty soon we'll see that. The Witness is here to try to clear mines, and that's a good move, for sure. 2 Cantavis on the way for Slav. He's massing up his own little army. And I like that he's already, capping his ridge. I'll see if he does it in the main as well. Just needs a little bit more money. I thought he was about to, but then he decided against it. Now he wants a Matrix in here. Matrix number 2, I see. I mean, his army isn't very large, so he can't really apply too much pressure here. And can he survive a sort of attempt to take a third base? This was, I mean, the Terran's playing very passive, right? Just sort of trying to stock up on everything that they need, make all of the units that they want, add in some Matadors, but the Palladium's finished, so we're going to get Phalanx soon. And adding Stockades. I'm guessing one of these will have the Vestry add-on so that you can make some healer units, but we'll see. Stargate warping in as well inside the main base. The double pylon here, I'm not sure what that was. That must have been a misclick. Or he just knows that I like when Protoss players make pylons. He's just like, yeah, I'll do that. Second embassy. Okay, we're going to go into some artisans here. These are remote harvesters to get some extra resources. Makes a lot of sense in theory, but you don't have a lot of map control, so you got to be a little sneaky. I love these depleted minerals over here as well. But there's these aquifers in the middle of the map. Nobody's ever really harvested those on Impulsion. At least as far as I can recall. So it does feel like Slav could have gotten a third base while the Terran was being very passive. Instead, he opted for a little bit more of like a tech-oriented strategy. He has fallen behind on workers a little bit more. We'll see what he wants to do. He's got the Cantavis for the Storm, and this is a lot of clumped up Terran. So this surely feels like a territory where a Storm would do a lot of damage. Yeah, this actually reminds me of like Sausage versus Shopkeeper Dog back in Acropolis 3. And now the Cantavis get focused down. One of them is dead. Another one still gets his Storm off, sending a lot of those blackjacks into the wounded state. Meanwhile, of course, some of the Protoss forces have fallen. Most of the front line is dead, so that's a big concern. But you know, this army doesn't really feel very threatening from Krankendau. He doesn't have any artillery. The phalanx count, is it just 0? Did he made the Palladium and didn't make any phalanx? I guess so. I don't know if he's trying to make a statement or something. But definitely applying some pressure, and we will get some Exemplar out for the Stargate Argosy as the follow-up. Okay, interesting. Well, we get to see the new Exemplar model. Ironically, Krankendau was so excited about the Exemplar model, he said, I have to play Protoss just for this unit. And I never saw him play Protoss after that. But I'm sure he was just making a statement of how epic the unit model is. Done by Balethal, a little bit of help, of course, from Solstice. But yeah, it's cool. It's a cool unit. It's for sure an exciting one. I'm just, I think it's really funny that Slav is out here making that unit for that particular purpose. So he's going to start harvesting gas from this. Well, he was trying to, but the Blackjacks are indeed going to cancel this out. Krankendau being on point when it comes to policing that silliness. Although I think if you fight with all of your artisans, you might be able to kill this blackjack. Yeah. So he kills two artisans, but absolutely devastated. Cannot compete. Yeah, Krankendau feels like he's gone on easy mode, or maybe this is like game 100 of the day, and he's just like, oh, I hear the units in my sleep. They say, hit me, which is a blackjack unit response. Bit of a whiff storm, not really too significant. Storm in this game is a channel, and it can be repositioned with a move command, basically. You can move the storm, which is pretty cool. But I don't think it matters too much in this context. He's just going to throw it out there and then walk away to cancel it, because you have a leash range, right? Only one phalanx, but by this point the Exemplar count is more than 0. We've got a couple of these guys waiting to rock and roll. And there's not a lot of anti-air, right? It's just the phalanx, so I think for sure the Exemplars can do the number here. Magister being added as well, very cool. Not one of our original unit models, but we'll get to it eventually. I think this is the version, we might actually get to see this unit, I'm not sure, but this might be the version where we get to see the Solarian in action, because Delta Catamus did do a new Solarian model for us. That Ancient is going to be, have its shields broken. We have this protracted siege going on right now, with the Exemplars now taking some fire from the Blackjacks, and the Phalanx just trying to shellac what he can as Zealot goes down. About half HP. Now the full engagement comes in, that Davis can get a lot of value. There's the Storm. It's a little bit later than we thought. One Exemplar will trade its life for the Phalanx. And the Storm actually rendered a lot of those Blackjacks surplus to requirements. Another Psy Storm, just to add a bit more pepper damage. And yeah, that's going to be an easy clear as another Exemplar arrives. The Magisters are here. Oh yeah. I'm going to wrap up the Ant-Seals as well. Now behind this is Krankendau in trouble. Did he meme a little bit too much? Did he try to be like hit him up or something? What's going on here? He's got his third base, and it doesn't really feel like he's got a big army to try to deal with the enemy threat. I mean, I know he's got a lot of Blackjacks. He's got some Clerics in here as well. Those are going to be pretty useful for repairing the units. You know, nano repair applies to both ranged or mechanical units and biotic units. So or biological units. So. No worries there. It doesn't... Okay, he is mining gas, but only with one guy on the second geyser, I guess. Just double checking that. That's something I always like to get a bead on, is how saturated is your base really? Witness is looking around for any would-be characters. A couple of these Blackjacks are just sort of out here as scouting. They're going to get cleaned up. So the bottom part of the map is going to start to go dark. And Krankendau wants to go for a big army fight. I guess he's trying to make, scenic fodder or whatever, but Slav is just massing up those Magisters, those Exemplars. He's going in for some Empyreans. No Solarian yet. He's teasing us with the Argosy. Would love to see a Crucible around that Argosy too, but... Oh man, the Ant-Seals are real close. That feels like a little dangerous. Now the ranged units are mostly relying on these melee guys as the backbone. The Phalanxes aren't initially even targeting them. Cantavis does go down very quickly, so no Storm from that. And it does look like these flying units are still going to be able to shoot with impunity, as the Phalanxes did do a number on themselves with that shooting the ranged guy, or the melee guys, right? The Protoss melee frontline area there. Honestly, it's probably smart to still stay and fight this from Slav's POV, right? Because that's a lot of Phalanx, and if it gets close to your base, well, it's going to take a while to chew through it all. So he commits his Drakon down there. The Witness will even stay alive. He's got, what, 4 Magisters and about as many Exemplars. Yeah, a 5th one just finishing. Now starting to go into Aurora just to see what he can, slam down. And the Blackjacks politely leave the third base so that Slav can take it. Very nice. So the Exemplars can only shoot ground units. They cannot shoot air. Magisters can shoot both. And when Magisters hit something, other allies of the Magister can attack it from higher range. So that's a little trick there. The Empyrean is here for some AoE. Obviously going to be particularly good against the Ant-Seals. My only concern right now is that the fact that the Clerics are here in such number does make it a little bit of a challenge for the units to be focused down. Now, you can only repair units from one Cleric at a time, just like in Starcraft 1 with the medics. But they also gain armor while they're being healed. So that's a very big difference there as well. Nexus had to be canceled, or, well, was chosen to be canceled. I think Slav probably ought to have finished that one up. Got more Goliaths massing up here. He doesn't have the anti-air to fully push in at this point, but those phalanxes can still prove to be quite a problem. I have to say, I think Krankendau can learn a lot about his army control woes from this replay, because he, just like so many other players, if you're responding to an air threat, you need to get your ground units that only attack ground units away from the path, right? And just out of the way. They're just clogging up the arteries, right? You gotta free them. Free your anti-air units by putting them in a separate control group or something. But everybody wants to just use one big control group, right? Now, double prostration stage is being added here. Not a huge scaling of production. Slav has a lot of money in the bank. That's something he can improve upon for next game as well. But right about now, he's going to try to stand and fight with his Magisters, with his Empyreans as well. He's got a pretty reasonable stack of units here, but yeah, he's going to have to call GB. I'm not actually sure what the B is for. Good, bad? Maybe he's just like, yeah, mid-game. That means it was good and then it was bad. I don't know. I'm not sure. I can't translate that. And that is a bit of an anticlimactic ending, but we got to see a bit of a move in there from the Terran player, stifling Slav. Yeah, interesting stuff there from a educational perspective, how you can improve as a player. I will admit, a bit of a mismatch and then not really piloted very well from either side, so maybe not the most entertaining game. But I did want to take a look at Slav, and I wanted to see how his Protoss was doing, and we hadn't seen Protoss in a little bit on the channel, so I wanted to do that for that reason as well. I hope that you guys enjoyed taking a look at what these players might be able to do better in the next round of times that we see them, and always good to see what Slav is up to. He's showing off some of the new Protoss models, and obviously we love that as well, so shout out to our artists, Balethal, Solstice, Delta Catamus, although his Solarian and Steward didn't get to see the light of day in this cast. We will eventually see it. We will. GG, boys. I'll be back tomorrow for another video.